The advice and opinions expressed by the host of Autism Live and her guests are meant solely as suggestion and should not be in any way construed as child-specific advice. Any choices you make in determining your child's treatment are completely at your own discretion.
Good morning and welcome to Autism Live. I'm Shannon Penrod and we are live right now. If you're watching us and it's Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time on October 11th, 2023, then we're live right now. If you're watching us anytime later than that, recorded, we're still happy that you're here. There are lots of ways to interact with our live show and with a pre-recorded show if you're watching us later on. If you're live right now, I know for certain that we are live on YouTube, and I believe that we are live on my personal Facebook page. We are having an issue with Facebook and we're working it out. And if any of you have ever had an issue with Facebook and you try to work it out with them and you know they are not the easiest people to get a hold of, but we're working it all out. So I hope that you're able to watch this. And if you end up watching or listening later on, we love that as well. We podcast full shows to all the places that you get your podcasts. It's a free download in all those different platforms. And of course, everything that we do, picture and sound, is available on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/autism-live. And you can go there and look back over 13 years worth of videos. Yes, it's craziness. We are starting our 14th year, I think. I'm so bad at the math, how that works, but I think that's exactly what's happening. We are going to be live for this next hour on a topic that is going to probably ruffle some feathers. I have a lot of disclaimers that I want to give because I think that this is a really important topic, and I tend to not hit it all the time because I know it can be very triggering for a lot of different people. But every once in a while, we got to delve in. But I am going to give a trigger warning for folks that when we start to talk about the word compliance and teaching an individual compliance, it may bubble up some stuff in you. And if it does, I want you to know that this is a safe space, that you can come to me with your thoughts and your feelings and your questions. And if you feel that it's bringing up some anger and stuff, that's okay too, because I'm guessing that there's probably some reasons why that's coming up for you. And I want to talk about that as well because, and you notice that on our topic, it says the top 10 tips for teaching compliance the right way. Because if we are teaching compliance just to make someone be compliant, that is the wrong way. If we are teaching compliance and we're not even mindful of the fact that you cannot teach someone how to say yes without also teaching someone how to say no, and how to have boundaries, and how to discern whether the person who's asking you to do something, whether it's something to your benefit or not. Now, this is a tough topic because already we're talking about children, and especially children who have a language disability or a deficit or a disorder, right? That's the full gamut and spectrum. And really all children are born having a deficit of spoken language and understanding language receptively, right? And that sometimes develops, but that even takes years. That's when it's in the everything is quote unquote normal, right? So are children at risk for being taken advantage of? Yes. And many of us know that all too well. But on the other hand, do we not teach a certain amount of compliance because, first of all, it's a safety issue. If I can think of an example of a warrior mom that we all loved so much, but who passed away a couple of years because she was in a house that was on fire and her son had not come out. She went back in to get him and she could not get him to leave the house because he was afraid and it was too much. And so the two sat on the stairs and perished together. And that is not her fault, that is not his fault, but if we could avoid that, moving forward and have the amount of trust that even when something is difficult, for our kids to trust us to leave an area that is unsafe to go to one that's safe, wouldn't we all fight for that? Wouldn't that be an important thing? And I can come up with a million different examples of, your child is running towards the street and about to run out into traffic and yelling, stop, and having your child stop is a matter of life and death, right? So there's certainly the life and death issues, but then there is also the issues that are just quality of life, that we want our children to be happy. We want them to exist in a world in which they understand it and that it makes sense to them and that they feel happy and safe and that they can flourish. And as parents, who among us does not wish that you could have the situation where you say, okay, it's time to go, let's put on your shoes and let's go get in the car to go to school, and that it's not an argument, right? That your child goes and puts on their shoes and goes and gets in the car. The question becomes, though, can we get to that while teaching them how to have their own boundaries? And the answer is yes. I know that there are going to be some of you that go, no, because that wasn't your experience of it, and I'm sending you love. But if we can talk reasonably about how can we do it, and if you trust me enough to go there with you, then we can make the world a better place for the people that we love. Do we have to be careful? You betcha. You absolutely betcha. And we're going to talk about those things too. But what I'm going to do right now, first of all, I'm telling you guys that we love to interact with you. You'll find our content on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and about a dozen other sites when it's all working right. We want to hear from you. We want to know your thoughts, your questions, all of those different things. You can always email me, Shannon at autism-live.com. You can check out our website, autismnetwork.com, or you can go to autism-live.com. Also want to remind you that there is Ask Dr. Doreen is a website as well now. You can be writing in questions for her show. She'll be back live next week. We've got so much to talk about with her. You can write her questions directly into that website. That goes to Marina first, and then Marina sends it to me so that there's no possibility I can forget it. Marina is like on top of things. And we're taking a little bit of hiatus from some of our programming here because we have a lot of things going on, but we're not leaving. I know a couple of you have written and said, what's happening? No, we're not leaving. I could not give up this if I tried. So we're going to be continuing. We've got a lot of great guests in the hopper that are going to be coming. So I appreciate your patience and stick with us while we, because a lot of things changed when Dr. Grampiche repurchased CARD. And I'm involved in that, and so we're just splitting our time equitably between a lot of different things. And so I appreciate but we're not giving up on this at all. There will be more content coming. Okay, so I do want to go now, though. I'm going to go through my top favorite tips for teaching compliance the right way. I'm not going to overly explain them because this is just for those of you who, you want to hear, like, what's the deal? But the baseline for all of this is that it has to be fair. And you guys know, if you watch this show, this is what Dr. Grampiche says all the time. She is my mentor. I am her student on this. It has to be fair. And if you're teaching compliance in a way that you look at it and go, I'm not sure if it's fair, then I bet you're not doing it right. And the right way is that it has to be fair to the individual. The compliance has to be something that gains them good things, and it can't ever be something that you can never be gaining compliance while you're punishing someone or doing something that is not in their best interests. And we're going to talk more about that. So let's go through our top 10 right now. Number 1, teach the child to say yes and no. Critical. Absolutely critical. That is the yin and the yang of it, and we're going to talk about why that's important and how you do it. Number 2, catch them doing good. Whenever you see a child that's doing something that's wonderful on their own, you're going to catch them doing that, and you're going to reward them heavily for that. It's a great way to teach trust and compliance. Number 3, we're going to up the praise all the time. I'm going to tell you the Hank story and about why Hank says to up the praise. If you have a child that is being completely not compliant, Hank will tell you up the praise and it'll change the equation. I'm going to give you something to try today that you're going to go, holy business, how did I not know about this? All right, number 4, give choices. We always want to give people choices. Even when we're asking them to do something that they don't want to do, we always want to give choices. Number 5, we're going to make it fun. Whenever we are asking somebody to do something that isn't their favorite thing to do, we're going to make it fun. Compliance should be fun and to the benefit of the person that is complying. Number 6, we're going to use visuals so that compliance can be easy, because sometimes we're relying on what we're saying to them and what they're receiving, and sometimes that can get discombobulated. So we're going to use visuals. Number 7, we're going to reward, reward, reward. This is the name of the game. Number 8, we're never going to punish. Punishment doesn't work. I don't know if you've read the studies, but punishment does not work. Especially with kids, you're not going to punish somebody into compliance. That's not happening. I know, I wish I could explain that to the prisons, but it doesn't work. So we're not going to do it. Number 8. My computer's making it fuzzy there. There we go. Number 9, we're going to ask them to do something that they want to do. This is the number one key to starting to teach compliance, is you ask somebody to do something that they want to do anyway. And then we're going to catch them doing that good, and we're going to do all the other things. We're going to reward, reward, reward. But number 10 is another one of the crucial things. We are going to model having boundaries, which means we're also going to respect when our children have boundaries. This is how we're going to begin to teach them boundaries, though, is by modeling it for them. Okay, those are our top 10, and everybody take a breath, because I'm sure some of you are like, wait. Because when you're teaching compliance, you're teaching someone to be compliant, and it gets very black and white for people. If you teach someone to be compliant, then they will be compliant even with people who do not mean them well. Is that a possibility? Yes. That's why you have to be completely clear on how you're teaching compliance, and you got to teach the two sides of it. If you found anything helpful in this video, please give us a like. In fact, make sure that you smash that subscribe button on YouTube and give us a like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Instagram for important updates. And please download our free podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much. See you next time.